Hi, welcome to this week's episode of E-Concepts. This is Eugene To, and today we are going to be talking about fiscal policy. Now, fiscal policy involves changing two things. Either you change government expenditure or you change taxes. So those are the two things you can manipulate when it comes to fiscal policy. Now, we're going to start first by talking about what expansionary fiscal policy does. The purpose of expansionary fiscal policy is to increase economic growth and cut unemployment. Now, expansionary fiscal policy, expansionary means you increase government expenditure. So what does it mean by increasing government expenditure? Increasing government expenditure can work in a few different ways. For example, you can actually spend more on public works projects like building more roads, building more highways, build more schools, build more hospitals. Or you can increase your direct hiring. For example, you can hire more civil servants, you can hire more teachers, you can hire more police officers, you can hire more tax officers. Now, these are all ways to increase government expenditure. If not, you can also cut taxes. For example, you can cut personal income taxes. If you were to cut personal income taxes, you will see an increase in disposable income. When disposable income increases, then your consumption will also increase because people have more purchasing power, they can buy more. You can also cut corporate income taxes because when you cut corporate income taxes, investments will also increase because after-tax profits will increase. So when you actually carry out expansionary fiscal policy, C, I, G will increase. AD will correspondingly increase. Now that is for expansionary fiscal policy. You want to increase AD because when you increase AD, real national income increases. When real national income increases, you have higher economic growth. Firms will also hire more factor inputs, including labor, which causes unemployment to fall. Now, for contractionary fiscal policy is the reverse. You want to cut AD, you want to cut G, you want to cut consumption, you want to cut investment, so you basically increase taxes. So when you increase taxes, your consumption investment will fall. When you cut government expenditure, your G will fall. So if your C, I and G fall, your AD will shift to the left. When AD shifts to the left, you observe that your general price level will come down. Then you have lesser demand pull inflation. So contractionary fiscal policy, contractionary means cut, is to actually address the problem of inflation. Now, so what are the limitations from fiscal policy? Number one, you have to have a large multiplier size for your fiscal policy to work well. If you have a small multiplier, then an increase in G of 50 million will lead to a small increase in real national income. If you have a large multiplier, then your increase in G will lead to a larger increase in real national income. So multiplier size is important. Now, other than the multiplier size, there are other things like implementation lag. How long exactly does the government take to implement fiscal policy? Now, if you are faced with a government that has significant political gridlock, and the government spends most of its time debating and arguing about policies instead of implementing them, then that could lead to a huge delay in terms of fiscal policy being implemented. So if you have significant political gridlock, then fiscal policy may not work very well as well. And this other thing called crowding effect. If the government has to borrow to actually finance its spending, it is competing with private sector for loanable funds. When it competes with the private sector for loanable funds, demand for loanable funds go up, interest rate go up. But when interest rate go up, investment goes down. When investment go down, your G go up, your I go down, then your net impact of AD is diminished. So crowding effect means that your fiscal policy will not be so effective because there's a limited impact on aggregate demand. So those are the limitations of fiscal policy. Now, what are the trade-offs of fiscal policy? When you carry expansionary fiscal policy, you have high economic growth, you have low unemployment, but when your AD increases and your economy is approaching full employment level, you're going to experience demand pull inflation. And on the other hand, if you carry out contractionary fiscal policy, you try to cut AD, yes, your general price level will come down, but it may also cause your real national income to come down and you have lower economic growth and higher unemployment. So these two things are at odds with each other. Now that's it for this week's episode of E-Concepts. We'll catch you on the next one. Hi, this is Eugene and we are doing What do I usually say?